I never thought the people I loved most could make me feel so unwanted. 10 years ago, I walked out of my parents' house with nothing but a small bag and a heart full of hurt. Today, they're having a grand family reunion, and I wasn't invited. But that's okay. I have something planned that will make them regret every cruel word they ever said to me. My name is Clara Bennett, and I'm 32 years old. But this story isn't about who I am now. It's about the girl I used to be. Growing up, I was always the quiet one in the family. My brother Ethan was the golden boy. Smart, charming, and the one everyone bragged about. My sister Lily was the beauty, always winning pageants and getting showered with praise. And me, I was just there. The extra child. The one who didn't shine bright enough to be noticed. It wasn't that I didn't try. I studied hard, I helped around the house, I dreamed of being a writer. But my family never cared about dreams unless they came with instant success and money. If I came home with an A on my report card, my mother would shrug and say, "That's good, Clara." But Ethan just got accepted into the best college in the state. If I got a small prize at school, my father would pat my head and say, "Nice, but did you see Lily's trophy? It's twice as big." By the time I was 22, the weight of being invisible had turned into something heavier, the feeling of being unwanted. The breaking point came when my father passed away. It was sudden, and the grief hit me hard. I thought maybe, just maybe, in moments like that families came together. But at the reading of his will, I realized how wrong I was. My brother got the family business, a thriving car dealership. My sister got the house my mother had always loved. And me, got nothing, not a single thing. Not even a framed picture to remember him by. When I looked at my mother, searching for some explanation, she just said, "Clara, you're young. You'll figure things out. Ethan and Lily have more responsibilities than you." That night, I wasn't even allowed a seat at the dinner table. There was no space, they said, so I ate alone in the kitchen while they laughed together in the dining room. That was the night I made my decision. I packed my small bag, walked out the front door, and didn't look back. The next few years were the hardest of my life. I moved to a different city where no one knew my name. I rented a tiny apartment with peeling wallpaper and a broken heater. I worked night shifts at a convenience store, stocking shelves until my fingers went numb. Some days, all I could afford to eat was instant noodles. There were nights when I cried myself to sleep because the loneliness felt like it was choking me. But my family never called. Not for my birthdays. Not for Christmas. Not even when I ended up in the hospital after being hit by a car while walking home from work one rainy night. It was as if I had been erased from their lives. But deep inside something was growing. Not just pain. Not just sadness. Something sharper. Stronger. It was a quiet promise I made to myself. One day they would see me again. And when they did, I wouldn't be the same broken girl they left behind. Starting over was like standing at the bottom of a mountain, staring up at the peak, and knowing you had to climb it without shoes. But I had no choice. My first job was at a small cafe. I cleaned tables, washed dishes, and served coffee with a smile even when my feet ached so much I thought they might fall off. The pay was small, but it was honest work. I saved every coin I could, dropping them into an old glass jar I kept on my nightstand. I wore the same pair of jeans almost every day. My winter coat had a tear in the sleeve, but I stitched it up and kept going. Instant noodles became my best friend. I didn't buy things I wanted, only things I needed to survive. One cold evening while walking home from work, I saw a "for rent" sign in the window of a tiny shop. It was barely bigger than my bedroom, but something inside me lit up. I had always been good at fixing things. Radios, old phones, even broken toasters. My father never noticed, but my hands had learned patience and skill from years of tinkering. I used almost all my savings to rent that shop. I bought a few tools from the second-hand market and painted the walls myself. I put up a simple sign, "Clara's Repairs." First, no one came. I sat behind the counter for hours, staring at the door, waiting for a customer. Days passed, and I made only a few dollars fixing old watches and rusty kettles. But I didn't give up. One rainy afternoon, A man in an expensive suit walked in. He looked frustrated, holding a cracked smartphone in his hand. "It has my daughter's birthday photos," he said. "I'll pay anything to get them back." I worked on that phone for 3 hours straight, my hand steady even though my stomach growled from skipping lunch. When I handed it back to him, the screen lit up with his pictures. His face softened. "How much do I owe you?" I shook my head. "Nothing. Just take care of those memories." He stared at me for a long moment before saying, "You're either the kindest or the strangest person I've met. I'll send people your way." I didn't think much of it. Until the next week. Customers began flooding in. Business owners, office workers, even a few celebrities. Word spread that I was the girl who could fix anything and cared more about people than money. Within 2 years, I opened a second shop. Then a third. By the 5th year, Clara's Repairs had turned into Bennett Tech Solutions, a company that not only fixed electronics but built custom devices for high-end clients. I hired staff, bought my first luxury car, and moved into a beautiful apartment. Still, I kept my success quiet. I didn't post pictures online. I didn't brag. I wanted to see if my family would ever reach out without knowing what I had. They didn't. One morning, while sipping coffee at my office desk, I got a notification on my phone. My cousin had tagged someone in a post. "Grand family reunion. Everyone welcome." Curiosity got the better of me. I clicked the post, scrolling through the names of the people invited. My eyes searched the list. But my name wasn't there. I told myself maybe it was a mistake. So I sent my cousin a message. "Hey, I saw the reunion post. Looks fun." She replied almost instantly. "Sorry, Clara. It's for close family only. You wouldn't feel comfortable anyway." You know how people talk. I stared at my phone for a long time. Close family. I was their blood. I had their last name. But to them, I was still the girl they left behind. My chest felt heavy, but my mind was strangely calm. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to show them. And this time they wouldn't be able to ignore me. I didn't yell. I didn't send an angry message. I didn't even tell my cousin what I really thought of her words. Instead, I took a deep breath and typed a short reply to my mother. "I hope the reunion goes well." She replied with a single thumbs-up emoji. That was all. No thank you. No wish you were here. Not even a fake attempt to hide the fact that I was unwanted. I stared at that little yellow thumb on my phone screen for a long time. And that was the moment I decided exactly how I was going to play this. For the next few days, I made calls to my real estate agent. I told him I was looking for something big. Something that would stand out. A home that wasn't just beautiful but unforgettable. He laughed at first, thinking I was joking. But when I transferred the money to his account, his tone changed very quickly. 2 weeks later, I was standing in front of a sprawling, ultra-modern glass mansion. It sat just outside the town where the reunion was going to take place, less than a 5-minute drive from the venue. It was perfect. The house had tall glass walls that sparkled in the sun, a marble driveway, and a gate that opened silently like it belonged in a movie. Inside, there were 6 bedrooms, a massive living room with floor-to-ceiling windows, and a kitchen so sleek it looked like it belonged in a cooking show. I didn't stop there. I bought a fleet of cars, a black Rolls-Royce, a cherry red Ferrari, and a sleek silver Mercedes. Not because I needed them, but because I knew my family would see them and start asking questions they didn't want the answers to. I hired a private chef to prepare the most delicious food for the day of the reunion. Not for the guests, but for me. I wanted the smell of fresh-baked bread and roasted meat drifting out of my house while my family was eating their dry catered chicken at the venue. The night before the reunion, I walked through the house, touching the cold glass walls and polished counters. I thought about the nights I'd spent hungry in that tiny apartment years ago. I thought about the birthdays I'd celebrated alone. And I thought about that thumbs-up emoji. My staff got the house ready. The cars were parked perfectly in the driveway, each one shining under the outdoor lights. The lawn was freshly cut. The pool water shimmered under the sun, and the massive double doors stood open just enough for anyone walking past to see inside. From my upstairs window, I could see the venue where the reunion would take place. Even at night, I could hear faint laughter and music as some relatives arrived early. I went to bed smiling, not out of happiness, but out of anticipation. The morning of the reunion was bright and warm. I woke up early, showered, and dressed in my best tailored suit, deep blue with a crisp white shirt and gold cufflinks. I poured myself a glass of champagne, not to drink, but to hold, because I knew it would look perfect in my hand. The gates to my mansion stayed wide open. I stood near the entrance, leaning casually against my Rolls-Royce, pretending to be on an important phone call. I wanted them to see me before I saw them. Soon I spotted the first car driving past. My cousin's. She slowed down as she passed the house, her eyes wide, her head turning to look at the building. She didn't stop, not yet, but I could see the questions forming in her mind. More cars followed. More slow drives. More whispers behind tinted windows. I could feel it building, the curiosity, the unease. And then, I saw them. My mother, my brother, my sister, the ones who had written me off 10 years ago. My heart beat a little faster, but my face stayed calm. Tomorrow I would no longer be the girl they could ignore. I stayed leaning against my car, champagne glass in hand, pretending to be on a very important phone call. My voice was calm and low, like I was closing some $1 million deal. The reunion venue's parking lot was almost full now, but most of my family members couldn't resist slowing down to stare at the mansion with the open gates. Some even stopped their cars for a moment, pretending to check directions, but I could see their eyes moving over every detail: the glass walls, the polished marble driveway, the rows of luxury cars. I didn't move. I just kept sipping my drink, glancing at my watch every now and then, letting the suspense grow. Then I saw my mother. She was wearing a pale blue dress, her silver hair pinned up like she always did for special occasions. My brother Ethan was beside her in a dark suit, looking just as proud of himself as he had 10 years ago. My sister Lily stood on her other side, wearing enough jewelry to blind someone in the sunlight. They stopped right in front of the gate. For a moment no one spoke. My mother's eyes scanned the house from top to bottom. I saw her frown slightly, like she was trying to remember where she had seen it before. My brother's mouth twitched, almost like he was trying not to ask the question that was burning in his mind. Finally, my mother took a step forward. "Whose house is this?" she asked. I lowered my phone, slipped it into my pocket and smiled. "Welcome to my home." Silence. Complete silence. My brother actually laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind you use when you think someone's joking but you're not sure. "You're kidding," he said. I tilted my head. "Do I look like I'm kidding?" Lily's eyes darted from the Ferrari to the Rolls-Royce and then back to me. "But how?" "You." She stopped herself, but I already knew what she was going to say. "You were the failure." I took a slow step toward them. "Sorry I couldn't invite you inside today. This is for close family only." Their faces drained of color. My mother's mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. My brother looked away. Lily shifted uncomfortably. I let the silence hang between us for a few seconds longer, just enough to make it sting. Then I turned around and walked back toward the front door. They didn't follow me. They didn't call my name. They just stood there watching while I disappeared inside. That night, I sat in the living room with the lights dimmed, looking out at the glowing city beyond my windows. My chef brought me a plate of warm bread and roast chicken, and I ate slowly, savoring every bite. When I finished, I took a single picture of the house from the garden, the glass walls lit up under the night sky, the pool reflecting the lights like liquid stars. I posted it on Facebook with one simple caption: "Sometimes the best seat at the table is the one you build yourself." Within minutes, my phone began buzzing with notifications. Messages from cousins I hadn't heard from in years. Even a short one from my mother. "We should talk." But I didn't reply. Because the truth was, I didn't need their approval anymore. I had built my own table, my own life, my own happiness. And I was never going to let them take that away from me again. Kindly tell me where you are watching from.